This is my easy hair transplant wash, day 5. All you'll need is water, a sponge, shampoo, latex gloves, and first aid ointment. So here I am filling up a glass full of cold water. I prefer to use cold water because it's quite refreshing to use in the morning, and I believe hot water is bad for your grafts, but you can use lukewarm as well if you prefer. I'm applying a second cup here. I like to use 3 for good measure. 1 or 2 may be okay for you. So just make sure you get all around your head, both sides, starting at the back of the donor area and just letting it drip onto the recipient area. During this whole procedure, nothing will be physically touching your recipient area at all. So just shake off the water a little bit. Grab your sponge. This is a surgical sponge that my doctor gave me, and this is graft site shampoo, which is a mild shampoo. You can also use Johnson's baby shampoo as well. So just put a little bit, squeeze a little bit on the sponge. A little bit, you don't need a lot. Just getting it wet, lathering it up a little bit. So I'm going to start on the back of the donor area, top to bottom, just patting motions, no rubbing, no scrubbing, just light pats, just a light dab, as Joe would say. Dab, 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 all around. Just still dabbing, making sure not to touch the recipient area at all. Still dabbing. Okay, here I am very carefully not to touch the recipient area. You can see it in the front. I'm not touching it. Dabbing, dabbing, light dabs. If it's sensitive, you can use lighter pressure if you like. So now that you're finished with that, just put some water on that and squeeze out the extra shampoo. More cold water in the cup. Again, it's going to be 3. Same procedure as before, just to rinse out the shampoo. Just pour it over the donor area. Pour it over the donor area. This is the second cup here. And this is the third one. Last cup of water all over the head. Make sure it rinse out all the shampoo, even though it wasn't a lot anyway. Okay, so now you're not going to use the towel to pat or touch your head at all. You're just going to let it naturally dry. Putting my shirt back on, button it up. I'm struggling with the top button. And once you get your shirt back on, you want to just let it dry a little bit. In the meantime here, I'm just cleaning up the sink, making sure things are nice and tidy. Excess water that dripped out of the sink. Throw that away. So now I'm just showing you my recipient area in the front, showing you the donor area. It's looking really good for 5 days. The first day it looked disgusting, like I had bullet holes all over my shit. So now you're seeing the recipient area, my forehead. It's looking pretty good. Don't mind the swelling. My head still has a lot of swelling on it. So I'm just waving here, drying it out a little bit. Now you're going to want to grab a latex glove. You can use 2, but that's kind of unnecessary. I'll just use 1 like Michael Jackson. So putting on the latex glove, I'm right-handed, so it's easier for me to just use my right hand. Here I'm grabbing some first aid ointment. This is BACITRACIN that the doctor gave me, but you can use Neosporin or Polysporin, or just go to your local pharmacy and just ask them for first aid ointment. So here I'm just putting half of it on the top of the donor area on my right side. And I'm applying the second half onto the left side on the top of the donor area. And here what I'm going to do is just rub it down onto the donor area, making sure again not to touch the recipient area at all. You'll see I'm very careful not to touch it. Making sure to stay off the recipient area, only rubbing the donor area. Your donor area may still be sensitive, especially on the first week of the procedure. So just rub it down, keep rubbing, making sure you get it nice in there. I like to do this like right after the wash and not letting it my head dry completely, so that it's easier to spread the first aid ointment. But again, let it dry a little bit so it's not dripping wet. So it's really easy to spread at this point. To add that first aid ointment, I'm using the latex glove and the ointment to keep the wounds. Your donor area just has a whole bunch of little microscopic cuts and holes in it, so you want to keep those clean. So throwing out the glove and the wrapper now, tying it up. You already know what this motion is. Throwing that away. Now I'm just showing you the donor area.